If you're trying to scale your brand to 7 or 8 figures and you've tried agencies, you have internal team members, you're juggling all these systems, you have your ads, you have your retention, you have your acquisition, there's so much going on. The reason why you aren't scaling might not be your marketing, but it might be simply because you don't have a system that ties everything together. In this training, I'm going to walk through exactly how to add 100,000 plus a month in profit to your e-commerce business. This is the proven system that we have built and implemented into brands doing 7, 8 plus figures. And after auditing 100 plus 7, 8 figure brands, I realized that every single one is leaking $100,000 a month. And they might be doing something, right? They're running ads, but they're simply leaving so much on the table. And so what I'm going to cover in today's training is really the 5 pillars of scaling an e-commerce brand, then tying it all together into one system. The 5 pillars that I've identified is the first, the foundations, making sure we understand our true metrics and North Star goals to actually set ourselves up for success. Second, structuring strong front-end offers, how to engineer offers that win cold traffic and maximize average order value. Third, building a creative flywheel system, how we build creatives that will actually scale and convert new customers and do this on a consistent basis. Next, media buying tactics. How do we structure the ad account? How do we ensure that we're going after truly new customers, and how to go about scaling once we found winners? Lastly, the profit machine, which is retention. Many brands struggle in leaving tons of profit on the table because they don't have a proper retention system in place. And then, like I said, we're going to tie this all together, and I'm going to show you exactly how to scale your brand by nailing down these 5 pillars. Just to give you an idea of who I am and what we do, my name is Patrick O'Driscoll. I'm the co-founder of TVG. We're an e-commerce growth marketing agency, and over the last 4+ years, we've worked with over 100 brands, generated north of $50 million in combined client revenue. We've managed 20 million plus in paid media spend. We've developed 4,000 plus high converting ads, sent 2,000 plus emails. So we know a thing or two on what it takes. And really, after 4+ years and our team of experts working ruthlessly to help brands scale, we've really boiled it down into the system, which I'm going to walk you through today. Let's start with section 1, the foundations. Really, there's 3 levers of growth. We have acquisition, retention, and expansion. Now, really, most brands are super over-indexed on acquisition. You're really focused on your ads. You're always just trying to get new customers in the door. You're focused on ROAS, but you're not really looking at the entire picture. And so what we really want to look at is our true growth KPIs. Now, when we sit down with a brand, we want to understand these 4 pillars, these 4 metrics extremely well. Let's break each one down. MER, marketing efficiency ratio. This is how much revenue we're driving from all marketing efforts. CAC, how much does it cost us to acquire a new customer? Average order value. What is the average amount that customers are spending with us when they purchase on our site? And lifetime value, usually looking at a 90-day or 180-day lifetime value to see the whole journey of our customers. Now, notice how ROAS is not there. So if you worked with agencies, if you run ads, a lot of brands still to this day, they're super focused on ROAS. Oh, we need a 4x ROAS to scale. Is that actually true? To really understand growth and scale, is we build out what we call the growth dashboard. So this is your growth compass. We don't make decisions without it. It's essentially structured as a P&L/KPI tracker for the e-commerce channel. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have ad revenue, returning revenue, total revenue. We want to understand your ad spend, marketing efficiency ratio, which is really the revenue divided by all ad spend, cost of goods sold, your gross profit, your OpEx, your net profit, the net profit change. Sometimes we even factor in our service fee here. We also want to understand from a customer standpoint, the average order value, how many new customers we're bringing in a month, the new customer acquisition cost, your average lifetime value, and then LTV to CAC ratio. These are the real benchmarks and KPIs that we need to be tracking to scale a brand past 7, 8+ figures. Let's start off talking about front-end offers. Now, you've probably heard of offers before, but I'm going to actually walk you through a super tactical way to think about offers and how we structure offers for our brands. This is our strong offer framework. We want to have a hero product or bundle. Acquisition should be focused on key hero offers, not all product SKUs. One mistake I see with a lot of brands is they have tons of SKUs and they're trying to advertise all SKUs at once. We want to zone in on 1 or 2 really hero offers and iterate and test until we found our scalable hero offer. We want to make it an irresistible first purchase. Now, this doesn't mean just discounting, right? We want to build ad creatives that communicate an offer that makes it irresistible. So it could be bundles, and I'll go way more into detail on that here in a minute. And then pathways to higher AOV. Can we have an offer that has an upsell so we can pump that average order value up and ultimately make ourselves first purchase profitable. So here's some offer examples from $100 million plus brands in this space. I really want to show you guys what the best of the best are doing, because there's a reason why these brands are doing it and why they're doing it at the highest level. So we have Breeze, we have Masa Chips, Grunes, and AG1. They're all doing exactly what I'm outlining here. When I sit down with a brand and they think they're too good for an offer, we don't want a discount, well, you're leaving money on the table. Look at Breeze. We have a limited time, save up to 50% off. You buy an 8-pack and you get 2 free bonuses, the free OG Micro, which looks like 4 products are free, and then free shipping. You can see here, worth $48, worth $20, worth $10. You can get it all for $38.40. We'll go more into detail about that here in a minute. Masa Chips, buy 5 bags and get 3 bags for free, or you can even get buy 7 and get 5 free, right? These are irresistible offers that are also focusing on a high AOV. We're selling chips, expensive chips, and they're still looking at a $65 offer here, or even an $89 offer here. Strong AOV, probably strong gross profit on this offer, and it's irresistible to the customer. Now, Grunes and AG1 are doing what we call a subscription funnel. They're really pushing people into subscription because their North Star metric that they're trying to track is lifetime value. They want customers to spend as much as possible with them. When you have a subscribe program, you're building that monthly recurring revenue like you are a software company. Let's look at these options. They're offering 1 person or 2 person, it might be a husband and wife. You might want to get the 2-person pack here, or that you can try once, but they really want to push you to the subscription offer. And you can see you can save solid amount on that first purchase right there. They also have a 30-day money back guarantee, pause or cancel anytime, making that offer irresistible. AG1, the veteran in the space with these offers, right? 30 servings, 60 servings, 90 servings, subscribe and save, slashing it down and giving a strong acquisition offer. Very important to understand these and very important to study what offers are currently working in the market. This is a little diagram that I like to show because basically this is what we want to do, right? So you have your cost of goods sold, you have your gross profit. This right here is what we're selling the offer at, and then perceived value. If you're buying it for $70, but it's $100 worth of value, this is important. We need to have that perceived value here. Now the break-even CAC is simply the gross profit on this offer. If we're under that for a CAC, then we're first purchase profitable. If we're above that, then we're negative and we need to be banking off lifetime value. It's very important to understand the metrics of your offer and know how to use certain structures here. Here's an example here. Let's say you have, a $50 offer, right? So offer has a perceived value of $100+, but we are offering for $50 for new customers. Our COGS are 10, so our break-even CAC is 40. This is very important. Most brands just maybe sell it at full price on the ads with like a 10% discount. It's not an irresistible offer. How can we get the perceived value on the right-hand side as high as possible so it feels irresistible? And so what we do is we do this thing called the offer calculator. This is a real client of ours where we actually broke down the metrics. So you can see basically this is a bundle offer. So we're giving multiple products for a bundle. You can see product 1, the price point here, this is the retail price we're selling at, $58.99. Product 2, $40.99. Our cost of goods sold is $18 combined, $8.25 and $9.75. So the total price point is $99.98. Shipping is $8.78. The discount we want to do is $20 off. So sale price is $79.98. Now what we can see here is our break-even CPA is what the gross profit is on this offer, which is $61.98, and our break-even ROAS is 1.5. So as you can see, basically looking back on what we were talking about previously, is that the perceived value is nearly $100, but you're getting a discount, $79.98, and the margin is still quite strong. Irresistible offers, we still want your margin to be north of 50%, ideally 60% plus, even better, 70% plus, right? The more wiggle room we have with your offer, the higher our break-even CPA, the more aggressive we can scale. So just an example of that, what we build for our clients. Here's the metrics to measure the offers. Is the offer actually strong? So when you go about, you're gonna test offers, right? Maybe think about 3 to 5 offers you want to build and you start testing those. AOV to CAC ratio. How can we get as first purchase profitable as possible? Payback period, how fast can you make that cash back? With some brands, if you have high LTV, maybe you're not first purchase profitable, but you have a subscription, you're making that cash back to the lifetime value. And subscription uptake. Do you have a subscription piece of this? How many of your customers are actually choosing that over just buying it one time? Now, section 3, creative flywheels. So if we think of your offer like the engine, creative is the fuel. And creative is really the number one thing that's impacting ad results. Really what we want to build is a flywheel, right? So you want to build a hypothesis, test that hypothesis, track it, double down if it's scalable, and then kill the losers. And you just want to keep iterating in this cycle. And now, here's a bunch of creative concepts that we recommend for any e-commerce brand. So we have these concepts which are like the theme of the creative. So we have testimonial, a demo, founder story, lifestyle, before and after, unboxing, us versus them, social proof, education, founder POV. Do we have a guarantee, limited time, bundle value, trend meme, problem solution? These are 15 concepts that you want to build for your brand and your offer so you can get a variety of creatives to test. Now, once you have these concepts, we bring them through what we call the creative workshop. This is another example of a tracker and a tool that we use inside of our agency to actually map this all out. In the creative workshop, this is where our strategists are creating a hypothesis about the creative we're about to produce. We're not just blindly creating creatives. We want to make sure there's intentionality every step of the way. You start with the offer, then the persona we're trying to go after, right? We want to have specific customers and demographics that we're trying to target, what desire we're trying to reach there. What's the awareness level, right? Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? Are they completely unaware? Is this a new ad or is this a iteration, right? So when you start to get tons of ads created, you might create iterations off of what's actually working, or you might create a net new concept. The concept here, right, like what I was talking about, is it UGC? Is it problem solution? Is it AI, right? This kind of goes back to the last slide here. We're talking about what concept are we actually using to communicate this? What format are we doing UGC? Is this a video? Is this a still? Is this a graphic? What's the hypothesis and what's the key message we're trying to communicate? Before we even create creatives, we need to be intentional about it, because if we track these things and we see on a regular basis, certain things are working, then we want to lean into those styles of creatives. Before creating random ads, brainstorm the following: the offer, the target persona, the desire, the awareness. Is this an iteration or a new concept? What's the format? What's the hypothesis? And what's the key message? These are the 8 things that we use before we start just blindly creating ads. Then once you have your hypothesis built, it's built in the creative workshop is what we call it. Now create a detailed brief. On the right-hand side, you can see a script that we produce for UGC Creator where we script out everything. We want to create multiple variations. So we outline the creative with multiple hooks and variations and B-rolls. That way we can produce as many unique creatives to test in the ad account. How do we get the most bang for our buck? We don't just want to use a UGC Creator, give them one script, test it and flops. We want to have multiple hooks, multiple variations, multiple B-rolls. So once it gets back into the editing, we can chop, multiple variations out of that one shoot. And really important, in order to build a creative system, you must have a creator network. So you might have affiliates, you might have real customers, you might have UGC creators. The more creators you have, the better you can produce better creatives. And that's what we have internally, is we've built a network of 100+ creators that we're constantly engaging with to create amazing, stellar creative. Creative KPIs. Once you build these creatives, once you get them launched in the ad account, these are the main things you want to look at to identify, is this a winning ad? Thumb stop ratio. This is a custom metric where you just do 3-second viewers divided by your impressions times 100. That's how you get the thumb stop ratio. Unique CTR, unique click-through rate, the cost per click, the hold rate, which is views at X of a video. So at 10 seconds of a video divided by 3-second viewers. This just tracks, are people actually sticking around and watching the whole video? And then ultimately conversion rate, or CPA. Is this creative actually getting purchases? All right, section 4, media buying tactics. Now, this is the campaign structure that we typically use in our agency to test and find winners. So normally speaking, right, there's tons and tons of schools of thought about this, but really it's important to understand the framework from a holistic standpoint, because we want to test and then we want to scale. We usually start, if a brand is completely fresh to ads, maybe 100% of the budget is going towards testing because we haven't found winners yet. But once we found winners, we want 80% of our budget going towards those winning ad set with winning ads. The testing campaign, that's really what I want to focus on here, because if you followed all the steps and you start to create creatives, then you want to have certain tests going on. Now, normally what I recommend is the test budget, like $50 a day is good. I also like your average order value as a daily spend for each test. And then in each ad set, we have an ad pack of 3 to 5 ads. With the Andromeda update that just came out, that's just a big algorithm update on Meta, really want to create as many unique styles of content as possible. So can we get UGC stills, graphics, get them all tested, and really take some big swings at the beginning. And then over time, these tests can be just iterations, right? Do we just test certain hooks of a video? Targeting strategy. While it varies account to account, we typically want to go broad with targeting, right? So on the ad set level and for our prospecting campaigns, we really want to go broad. That will give us a big enough audience to really start to scale up. 80 to 90% of our budget should focus on new customers, and 10 to 20% can be used to like middle of funnel, bottom of funnel retargeting. We're not totally opposed to retargeting, but really we want a majority of our spend going towards new customers, which brings us to exclusions. So in the ad account, you can exclude customers, right? And so if you want to create a truly scalable campaign and really test against net new customers, which should be the North Star of a brand, then you need to make sure that you have proper exclusions in place. So exclude, 90-day, 180-day purchasers, or entire, customer lists if you want to go as aggressive with that. Basically, that means your existing customers will not see your ads. So usually I like to start with like a 90-day exclusion, then maybe go to a 180-day exclusion, maybe even do a whole customer list exclusion if you want to go after true net new customers. The point here is we do not want to waste too much budget on existing audiences, and you have to stop double paying for your own customers. There's so many instances where we jump into an ad account and we see that so much budget is going towards existing customers. We want to make your dollars really worth it by going after new customers here. Okay, advertising KPIs. What are the metrics? What are the things that we're looking at to, consider success on the advertising side? CPA, that's really the metric that we see in the ad account over ROAS is really CPA, right? We want to see how much it costs us to acquire a purchase. And then new customer acquisition cost is what you do is you take how many new customers that you see in Shopify and then take your ad spend, divide that, and you should get a good idea of like what your new customer acquisition cost is. Then you can see blended CAC across all your customers divided by ad spend. What's your blended CAC there? And then average order value divided by CAC, similar to creative, first purchase profitability that we're looking at. And then frequency, are your ads being seen too many times in a certain time span? That means that maybe your ads are hitting a too engaged audience, and if your frequency is too high, then we probably want to get new ads in the mix to mitigate that. Okay, section 5, retention engine. This is where many brands do not have this built out, and quite frankly, this is where a majority of your 100K a month profit could be coming from, because retention is the most profitable channel here. What I want to emphasize is you've already worked so hard to acquire new customers. And why not work as hard to retain your existing customers? This is a high level overview of kind of like a whole e-commerce marketing funnel. As you can see up at the top, this is all of our acquisition channels. You might have influencer, SEO, meta ads, Google ads, organic. You might have TikTok. The point is, up at the top is all your acquisition. They go to your website. Now we want to make sure that 5 to 12% are going to your email list. And that's done by having a high converting pop-up offer. Very, very important. Do not underestimate the power of a strong pop-up so we can grow your email list. And then customers are taking through really two sides of the email and SMS retention funnel, right? So you have email flows, which is welcome flow, abandoned cart abandoning, checkout, browse abandonment, site abandonment. These are those behavior flows that are triggered based upon the steps your customers are taking in the funnel. Then we have campaigns, right? Every single week we should be sending 2 to 4 campaigns out to our list. And so it's very important that your campaigns are what your email list is getting sent on a regular basis. So very important here. This whole side under website is the retention engine. Do we have this fully built out? On the right-hand side, you can see examples of Klaviyo email flows that we built out for a brand. And really the essential flows that I recommend for any brand is the welcome flow, the browse abandonment, cart abandonment, abandoned checkout, post-purchase, win-back flow, site abandonment, and subscription flows. And then over time, you can have more advanced flows, but really we need to crush the basics. So these will do 90% of the revenue on the retention side, and then you can of course have more advanced flows depending on how much traffic your brand is currently pulling in. And what we want to do is we want to build a campaign calendar. So this was obviously the flows, right? So remember we have the flows and we have the campaigns. The campaigns, we want to outline a whole month of campaigns. You can see here for this brand, we're sending 3 to 4 emails every single week. As you can see here, we always plan ahead. We're well ahead in planning, so we know what offers we're trying to push, what do we want to communicate. And also want to emphasize here is that your email campaign shouldn't just be discounting. They shouldn't just be sending discounts to your list and hoping they purchase. We need to be educating. So we need to be educating, providing value in the inbox. That way people aren't unsubscribing. If we're just spamming them with sales all the time, they're going to get annoyed, they're going to get fatigued. So we need to build a relationship through the inbox. Why your workouts plateau, the hidden hormone connection to your symptoms. These are all educational angles that actually, we of course plug our products at the end as a call to action, but we're not just saying buy now, buy now, buy now, because that is annoying as an email subscriber. Okay, retention KPIs, what you should be looking at to measure the success of your retention. Klaviyo attributed revenue, really the target here is 30% plus. at TVG, our clients on average are seeing a 34.7% of revenue coming through email and SMS. Definitely above industry standard. Usually industry standard is like 20 to 30. If we can get that above 30, sometimes even 40-ish, that's in a great spot. Lifetime value. Are we tracking our 90-day and 6-month lifetime value? Returning customer rate, 90-day CAC to LTV. This really tells us like our payback window, right? Sometimes with brands, they have extremely high LTV, so we can be more aggressive with our acquisition side. See how all these are starting to work together? That really brings us to section 6, like how to actually scale this up. Okay, we have built the engine. Now it's time to scale. We've built strong foundations and know our target metrics. We've structured irresistible front-end offers. We've developed a creative flywheel system and found new winning creatives. We have a media buying strategy that's set up for success, and we're retaining our customers and maximizing lifetime value. So we scale not by blindly increasing our ad spend and looking at the ROAS in our Meta ad account. Instead, we track all of our metrics religiously. This goes back to the growth dashboard that I showed you. We want to make sure that all of our metrics are standing up and holding strong as we begin to scale. If metrics stay stable, we can scale as aggressive as 20% day over day. We have some brands that start with us at like $5,000 to $10,000 a month in ad spend, and we're spending $50,000 a month plus in just a month or so because all the metrics stand up and we can scale aggressively. But scaling means something different to every single brand that we engage with. Maybe you have raised $1 million in funding and you're just looking to scale to 8 figures as fast as possible. Then you want to be dumping as much cash in acquisition to pump that top line and ultimately the value of your company. Others, you're bootstrapping your business and you value sustainable growth. So you don't want to be scaling as aggressive as 20% day over day. You might be looking at increasing your ad spend 20% month over month, right? Totally different scaling path, but still the fact of the matter is like the foundations stay the same, right? We want to measure those KPIs and see that growth dashboard as we start to increase that spend. And now the only mistake you can make at this point is focus on the wrong levers that lead to scale. So I just went over a bunch of battles that you have to fight on multiple fronts as an e-commerce founder, e-commerce marketing team. And if you focus on the wrong thing, then you might let other parts of the puzzle, drag off or fall off. And then you kind of are running around juggling all these things. You're trying to focus on iterating and focusing on one, and then one falls down. So you need to make sure that all of this is working together in one system. And we built out these growth engines every single day for 7 to 8 figure e-commerce brands. Like, this is what we do every single day. And that's really what differentiates us to other agencies that only handle one piece of the puzzle. That's what happens when you have your growth channels are in silos. You have a Google agency, you have a freelancer, you have a Meta agency, you have someone in-house, you have this all over the place. So we need to pull this all together, consolidate all the data, and look at it from an omni-channel approach. And so this is what we do at TVG. We call it the core growth engine. This is the 4 pillars of service that we do to handle every step of the growth journey. First, it starts with converting creative to communicate those hero offers. Then we launch omni-channel paid media across Meta, Google, and sometimes TikTok to actually scale the account. Then retention and retargeting, building out high converting lifecycle email flows, as well as sending campaigns and making an entire campaign calendar for your brand. So we're squeezing out as much cash out of our existing customer base. The expansion and scale. This is the intersection of marketing and finance. How do we scale up and monitor every single metric to ensure we're scaling up as profitably as possible to unlock 100,000 plus a month in profit? And if you'd like a custom roadmap and full funnel audit built specifically for your brand, then click the link below and book in a call with me personally. You're not gonna jump on with a salesperson, you're gonna jump on a call with me personally to claim your core growth audit. This is when I sit down and we map out the entire growth dashboard. We understand what problems, what bottlenecks you're experiencing with your brand, and how do we smash right through them. The worst case scenario is you get an audit, you get some guidance, you can implement this yourself. The best case scenario is you find out that there's room to add 100,000 plus a month in profit and you want our help to execute it. And we can do so in just a span of 30 days to get this system all built out in your business, then monitor and scale relentlessly. Click down below to book in that core growth audit with me personally, and we can map out everything here. Or if you'd like to see more trainings just like this, then make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. I am putting out a ton of trainings on how to scale your e-commerce brand past 7, 8, and even 9 figures here on this channel. Have a great rest of your day and best of luck scaling.